I am fired up. Get your popcorn. All right, let's dive into a bunch of different stories. I hope all of you are having fantastic Wednesdays wherever you may be. It's past time, well past time, for Major League Baseball and the NBA to be back training, preparing to resume their seasons. This is utterly ridiculous. Props to the NHL for at least putting a plan together out there to return to the ice. The NHL has an infinitely more difficult job than Major League Baseball or the NBA do, and I'm going to tee off on both of those leagues here momentarily. But first, think about what the NHL needs. They are a multinational organization. There are a lot of different teams playing in Canada right now, and the border is shut down with Canada by and large for your average person to be able to go back and forth. The NHL needs ice. It's difficult by and large to find ice that can reliably handle a ton of hockey games. All the NBA and Major League Baseball need are basketball courts and a baseball field. Effectively, that ain't hard to find. The NHL has much more physical contact on a play-to-play basis than the Major League Baseball or the NBA do. Yet the NHL has managed to put together a plan to come back sooner rather than later, and Major League Baseball and the NBA still aren't. Now, the data out there is important, significant, and still understood by relatively few people. The CDC last week came out with the latest data on the coronavirus since the outbreak. I want you to listen carefully because all of this is important. I will open up the phones if you have questions, but this underlies why sports should be back now, as in right now, okay? First of all, if you are under the age of 50, according to the most recent CDC data, you are under more danger from the seasonal flu than you are from this coronavirus. Let me repeat that. If you are under the age of 50, which nearly 2/3 of the United States population is, you are under more danger from the seasonal flu than you are this coronavirus. We probably never should have shut down over this, frankly, what the data reflects now. But for a couple of weeks, everybody was panicked and nobody knew what was going on. The idea that we should still have states that are shut down as we come up on the end of May is absolute madness, okay? If you are listening to me in a state and you aren't able to do your normal life right now, this is insanity. Over the weekend, I took off Monday and Tuesday. I went to the beach in Florida. I continued to eat in restaurants as I've been doing for the entire month. I went and flew on an airplane to and from Nashville and had absolutely zero issues. I feel comfortable making all these decisions because I'm young and healthy, under the age of 50, and I'm not going to allow fear of a virus to change my life forever. Some of you want to do that. That's absurd. If you are under the age of 24, you are more likely to be struck by lightning than you are to die of the coronavirus. Let me repeat that. If you are under the age of 24, you are more likely to be struck by lightning than you are to die of the coronavirus. If you are under the age of 14, and right now you would ordinarily be playing Little League Baseball or Little League Softball, you are more likely, 20 times more likely, to die of the seasonal flu than you are of the coronavirus. This coronavirus is deadly to people who are of advanced age and have substantial health-related issues. If you live in a nursing home, you are under danger, great danger from this coronavirus. But the average age of death from the coronavirus, okay, is older than the average age of death in this country, period. That is, the people who are dying of the coronavirus are older than the average age of people who are dying of all viruses in this country. Pennsylvania has had more people over the age of 100 die of the coronavirus than they have people under the age of 45. It is madness that the state of Pennsylvania is shut down. It is insanity that the governor of Pennsylvania was upset at Ben Roethlisberger for getting his hair cut. I'm sorry, I look at all the data and the amount of idiocy out there surrounding this is driving me bonkers, because sports should be back right damn now. And in Major League Baseball in particular, all right, I'm going to tee off on Major League Baseball in particular here. Major League Baseball naturally socially distances. The players are relatively far apart for most of the game. It's easy, by and large, to play baseball without having to come into contact with very many guys on a regular basis. And moreover, it's no longer about health, which is now the biggest issue with Major League Baseball. It's about whether or not guys will take pay cuts and whether billionaires and millionaires can figure out a business relationship to return baseball. This is 1994 all over again. There are baseball players and owners, maybe, who knows, and maybe executives who listen to this show, who start off their mornings with Outkick. Let me tell you this in no uncertain terms. I will not go to games in your stadiums for years if you guys can't get this worked out. How do I know that? Because I did it after 1994 when you couldn't find a way to return the season and didn't play the World Series. I said, screw baseball. They don't care about their fans. Why should I spend my money on them? Right now, when I travel with my family, we go to games in cities, even though it doesn't necessarily have to be a part of the vacation. It's probably the way that a lot of you are. In the past few years, I've gone to games in Seattle to watch the Mariners and in Colorado to watch the Rockies play. I've bought good seats, taken my entire family, and we've had a good time watching baseball. But guess what? We could have done any number of other activities and spent our money elsewhere. As a promise from me right now, I will make it clear for everyone out there listening. If you do not get baseball back sooner rather than later, for the next 5 years, you won't get a single dollar of my money, period. I think it's important for fans to vote with their pocketbooks. You need to make businesses understand that there are lots of places out there competing for your business on a day-to-day basis. If Major League Baseball can't find a way to return and help America get back to normalcy right now, this year in 2020, I won't spend money, nor do I believe that you should, on Major League Baseball in the near future or even for the next several years. That is how markets work. Major League Baseball needs to get this figured out sooner rather than later. If they don't, if they are unable to, if they are unwilling to, that is certainly their prerogative, but it can be my prerogative to say, I will no longer support your brand of business. 27,000 of you voted last night when I put this question up. 54% of you said you would be less likely to buy tickets or watch games on TV in future. Doesn't surprise me. That's a big problem for Major League Baseball. Fans want millionaires and billionaires to work out this issue. If they can't, it's a major, major issue going forward. Right now, there's a proposal that everybody would make substantially less money. I have said that I think it's fair for Major League Baseball owners and players to split revenues, and owners should be honest about total revenues that they are receiving for baseball. If there are not going to be fans present, the dynamics of baseball revenue are completely different. And so baseball contracts should be completely different. I can come up with several different ideas that seem to me totally rational and reasonable on a way that you could work this out. For instance, let me give you an example. If you have a Major League Baseball contract and you are scheduled right now to make $35 million a year, which not many players are, but some are, under the proposal, you would only make $7.8 million this year. Okay? A player making $10 million would make just shy of $3 million. Player earning $1 million would receive $434,000. A player making the MLB minimum would earn half of his contract. 65% of all Major League Baseball players make less than $1 million. My solution here would be give players the option to add an additional year onto their contracts and not have this year count as a contracted 4-year. Or if players would rather count this year as a contracted 4-year, they can. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you are set to make $35 million this year, add an extra year onto your contract, whatever it might be, if you would so desire, and you can make $8 million this year in a non-traditional season playing. That way, you're keeping your existing contract and you're adjusting on the fly for what is a messy season. If you are younger and you want to get through your existing contract faster, you could have this year count and you would get to free agency 1 year faster. Give players an option to elect to either count or not count this year as a part of the contract under which they are under. That seems completely reasonable as a way to solve this issue. All of these things are, frankly, issues that can be resolved, I think, fairly easily and expeditiously. I feel like if you put me in a room as the mediator with owners and players, I could solve this in a day. I really 100% believe this. Major League Baseball players should be training to return right now. Moreover, if you look at the data and the trajectory under which we are following right now, it's possible, maybe even probable, that by August or July, there's almost no issues with the coronavirus anywhere in this country. Some of you out there are like, oh my God, what are you saying? Look at the data is what I say time after time after time, and adjust your behavior as the data reflects that you should. And the data right now is pretty simple and straightforward, all right? Each of the last 3 days, 654 or fewer people have died of the coronavirus in this country. Let me repeat that. Each of the last 3 days, 654 or fewer people have died of the coronavirus in this country. What does that mean? What are you telling us, Clay? Well, I'm just saying 7,500 people die every day in this country. Over the last 3 days, nearly 7,000 people are dying of something other than the coronavirus. It's not becoming worse. In fact, it's becoming substantially better right now every single day. It's not crazy to look at the data right now and say, well, we just saw Memorial Day and we saw 654 or fewer people die in the last 3 days, continuing a substantial decline that we have seen over the past several weeks. What might it be by July 4th when baseball is talking about finally being back? By July 4th, we might be down to a couple hundred, maybe lower numbers of deaths that are occurring. By August, we could be talking about fans back in the seats. It's hard to project exactly what any situation will look like, but the data all reflects that sooner rather than later, a large degree of normalcy should and will occur in this country. If it hasn't already, baseball needs to be a part of that normalcy. And again, I don't think it's crazy to believe that baseball by August could be talking about bringing fans back in some numbers to the stands. I believe when baseball happens and starts to do that, it will impact other sports. I think the NBA needs to be back sooner than rather than later as well. But baseball in particular is, to me, relatively easy to work out. I also believe that things can change in a hurry. 2 weeks ago, a lot of people were saying, oh my God, will we play football this fall? Now the conversation has shifted to not only do most people out there believe we will play football, the question is how many fans will be in the stadium? All of this is moving in a very positive direction. The data is clear. And if Major League Baseball can't get this worked out, frankly, they are imbeciles.